Today, Joe Biden actually says he has outperformed expectations, and an alarming number of Democrats want to send the unvaccinated to what sounds a whole lot like those re-education camps that we hear about over in communist China. But we'll get into that. We've got all that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Hey, welcome to the news and why it matters. Is it hump day? I think it is. Yes, it's hump day. Happy hump day, everyone. I am Sarah Gonzalez on a little bit less pain meds and muscle relaxers today. So we'll see how the day goes. But,
So not as fun.
We never know what could happen. Jason's going to be like, could you take more of those every time I'm on the program? Obviously joined by Jason Buttrell, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program. And also, we're very, very excited to have back in studio. I think last time I wasn't sure, I don't think we were allowed to say your name.
Oh, no, you could say my name.
Okay. Chris Coles, who you know as Mr. Reagan, who you can find on YouTube. Where are you, just on YouTube exclusively, or are you everywhere?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I've tried other platforms and failed miserably.
Okay.
Yes. So YouTube's about it.
Yeah.
But I have a new channel called Mr. Pagan, which is the comedy version of Mr. Reagan.
Oh, I love that.
He's a leftist.
Oh, that's good.
He talks like this. He's fabulous. And he hates everything about Mr. Reagan, his good twin, supposedly.
That's great. Yeah. Well, we were just discussing off air, for those of you who don't know. So Chris here, Mr. Reagan, came kind of onto our radar whenever you did that video about how AOC came to be AOC, where she is at now, and it's just fascinating, really the story.
Well, the fact is that they presented this in a video of their own making, right? It's a group called the Justice Democrats.
Yeah.
And they brought AOC in to sort of be their mouthpiece. She wasn't really her own woman or her own congressperson. Right. She was the mouthpiece for this group. And they made a video sort of bragging about this, talking about how awesome this was. And people don't vote for somebody to be the spokesperson for a group. They vote for somebody because they think that's the person that they want representing them.
Right.
And so this seemed like kind of a con. And so I made this video, and I got fact-checked on it.
Of course.
Like, oh, this isn't true. This guy, because I called her an actress. Right. Sort of like saying she's a puppet.
Yeah.
And they said, well, she hasn't been in any movies.
That's hilarious.
I'm like,
no, it's not a movie. It's real life.
Exactly. But
that's the problem.
I'm like, if I called her a puppet, would you say, she's not made out of felt and sticks?
Right. But no, that. I remember watching that and going like, holy crap, this is incredible that this guy found all of this footage. So he's got a great channel. You guys have to make sure to check it out. So we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
And I want to get into some of the topics of today. So as of the time of this taping, Joe Biden, I think the press conference is still going on right now. So he was holding a press conference right now. They focused on the economy and I think some other things. But I want to get to a couple clips that we have thus far, which are, let's listen to Joe Biden defending we've seen all these pictures on the internet of all of the empty grocery shelves, people taking pictures, specifically in D.C. itself. I've gotten pictures from friends who are like, there's nothing left in the produce section. These are my aisles that I have to shop over at right now. There's nothing here. So they're not fake. Those would probably be fact-checked as well. But they are not fake. They are real. And Joe Biden says, look, the empty shelves they're 89% full. Okay, so really don't believe your eyes. Believe what I am telling you. Here is Joe Biden.
And shelves were stocked. And notwithstanding the recent storms that have impacted many parts of our country, the share of goods in stock at stores is 89% now, which has barely changed from the 91% before the pandemic. I often see empty shelves being shown on television. 89% are full, which is only a few points below what it was before the pandemic.
It's weird because I don't recall seeing grocery shelves just completely, maybe the first part of the pandemic when everyone was panic buying everything. Yeah. But if that's what your barometer is and that's what you have to compare it to, that's pretty sad. That's saying a lot. So, gentlemen, I want to get your thoughts, but let me play one more clip for you, which is personally my favorite to come out of this. So far, again, as of the time of this taping, he may be creating some unbelievable gaffe that we could have for you tomorrow. But so far, here's Joe Biden saying, you know what, I probably actually outperformed what anybody thought would happen after a reporter asks him about how how he should feel about what he's promised and what he's delivered. Watch.
Inflation is up. Your signature domestic legislation is stalled in Congress. In a few hours from now, the Senate, an effort in the Senate to deal with voting rights and voting reform legislation is going to fail. COVID-19 is still taking the lives of 1,500 Americans every day. And the nation's divisions are just as raw as they were a year ago. Did you overpromise to the American public what you could achieve in your first year in office? And how do you plan to course correct going forward?
Why are you such an optimist? Look, I didn't overpromise, but I have probably outperformed what anybody thought would happen. The fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where we have made enormous progress. You mentioned the number of deaths from COVID. Well, it was 3 times that not long ago. It's coming down. Everything's changing. It's getting better.
The man who said, I will shut down this virus. I will not shut down the economy. I will shut down this virus, not just on one occasion, but like on the campaign trail throughout his campaign, and then ended up with more deaths and more cases than under, of course, Donald Trump, who they blamed for every single one of those deaths, now says he's probably outperformed what people expected.
Yeah, there's a common sense solution to Biden's problem, which is under-promise and over-deliver.
Right.
Biden has done precisely the opposite of that. I mean, there are so many reasons why he wants to implement a lot of stuff that Americans hate.
Yeah.
And when you talk about that stuff in a radical way, oh, this is the radical stuff we want, this is the radical stuff we want, you kind of scare people a little bit. And that could be a good thing politically, because then you say, actually, what we really want is this. And people go, thank goodness. Okay, yeah, just do that.
Yeah.
But Biden doesn't do that. Biden doesn't say, oh, let's implement all this crazy left-wing insanity and then say, okay, actually, just kidding, we'll just do this. And everybody goes, okay. He sticks with the left-wing insanity. And so there's no way that he's going to get all the stuff passed that he wants to get passed, because he's just sticking with the furthest left Green New Deal kind of nuts stuff.
But is it him, or is it just whoever's pulling his strings, right? Is he even like that
Sarah
aware
Gonzalez,
of what he's doing?
Why are you even asking that question? Okay, everybody knows what we're saying when we say Biden.
Okay.
We're saying Biden's handlers. We're saying Obama, really, is what we're saying.
Well, Obama 2.0.
Obama 2.0, yeah, exactly.
It's incredible, Jason. And hold on, I do want to, just to be objective here, Republicans are also guilty of over-promising and under-delivering, as we're talking about right here. I mean, you look. I would have crawled over broken glass to vote for Donald Trump in the last election. Thankfully, I didn't need to crawl over broken glass, but I would have. But he did say that we were going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it.
That is true.
Which at the time you're like, no, that's not how any of that works.
Can I just also say that I'm proud of Joe Biden, because he tried to make a joke.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
Really,
look,
it was pretty bad.
I know. I think it was okay.
Did you?
It was sarcastic. Oh, you're a real optimist, huh, buddy? But the delivery wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's the problem. There was no delivery.
It seems too angry.
It fell flat. The whole press corps was just like, "What did he do? I don't understand what's going on here."
Yeah.
Sad, a little bit sad.
Yeah. I'm surprised that question even made it through, Joe Biden's handlers. Because usually
what they must be doing at this point is saying, this is our question. And the handler goes, okay, great, we'll put you on the list. And then they go,
change it.
And then they just say what they want.
Which means if you've lost the White House press corps and you're a Democrat at this point, you are in big trouble.
Yeah, but
other than Peter Doocy.
You made a good point, though. He did say he was going to shut down the virus.
Yeah.
But like the other things they promised, like we're going to fundamentally transform the country.
Right.
Anything else that they got? He made a lot of grand, promises to the country. None of them have come through. In fact, they've gone backwards. I saw someone put out some statistics today on all the people that are out of work due to Omicron. All the people, all the parents that are having to stay home, can't do their jobs because they're having to take care of sick kids. Which again is... I
feel like that's not really what they're not having to take care of sick kids. They're having to keep their kids at home because their schools are shutting down because a kid has a runny nose.
Well, in Chicago,
that's ours. Almost every single DFW school is shut down this week because of it.
Not mine.
I mean, it's not a public school though, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Every single
at this point, you can't send your kids to public school.
No.
It's so sad. Public school used to be okay.
Yeah. people accuse me all the time of being like a school snob because they're like, not everyone is an elitist who can do homeschooling and private school or whatever else you do. And I'm like, I used to love public school. I grew up in public school.
I went to public school.
I was a believer in public school. It is not the same public school that it was before when we were growing up in it. And you got to find a way. And there's always a way to homeschool.
Yeah. His other remark, though, about to go to the first clip that you played about where they're at 89%, stock instead of the 91. I'm sorry, but that is just not the reality the majority of Americans are facing right now. It's just not. I don't doubt it. The grocery store that he's not going to, but his family
that they polled.
Yeah, they're
like, find the most in-stock grocery store in America and find out what their statistics are.
Well, they're going to like the posh neighborhood that he lives in, Delaware. They get everything probably because they pay for the most amount of money for it. If you go there, it's like the people that like will say people like in your neighborhood, like in LA, go to like Bel Air, and they're like, well, of course we want a bunch more immigration. We don't need immigration. Just open borders, let them in. It's not affecting them, right? Go to the border and then ask ranchers down there how it's affecting them a lot more. But if you live, in your ivory castle, those things don't really bother you as much. If you go, this was just happened to me this past weekend. It's not only shelves or grocery stores shelves. It's also like fast food restaurants. I went to Taco Bell, and this is when you piss me off, right? I go in to get a quesarito, right? And I'm like, yeah, can I get 5 quesaritos, whatever? Shut your mouth. And then they're like, oh, sir, you didn't see the sign? I'm like, what sign? They're like, oh, here's another one for you. There will be no quesaritos. I was like, this is bullcrap because of supply.
Come on, you did not say bullcrap.
He didn't.
This is when Jason goes from non-swearing Jason to swearing Jason.
Taco Bell, baby. So this is the story. So we left there, and I said, screw that, although I did not say screw that.
Yeah, no.
And then we left, and we went to like a burger joint. I can't remember where it was. They didn't have tomatoes.
What?
Again, they had a sign. Because of supply chain issues, we do not have tomatoes.
That's incredible.
It's
so I drove
everything
100 miles to the Taco Bell on the other side of the state.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, it really is incredible. And it's just, I feel like it has to be so offensive to the Americans who voted for this guy, which, as we know, 81 million of them.
81 million.
Think if you're an independent.
As we know.
If you're
that's
an
what I'm saying. And you were
independent-
like, I didn't like Donald Trump's tweets. Yeah, let's try out this guy.
them.
And he's sitting there, or standing there, barely standing there, telling them, you don't believe what you're seeing in your own life. Don't believe that you're paying more at the pump, even though you're seeing it every time. Don't believe that you're spending more at the grocery store. That's not true. Don't believe any of what you're seeing and feeling and experiencing, and this is your pain. I'm here to tell you none of that is real. That has to be offensive.
Yeah, he's lost. They've said that he's lost so much Hispanic support. It's down to like 30% or something like that. Yeah, this is sort of the Democrat version of the world. You have a bifurcated world now. You have the universe of the conservative and you have the universe of the Democrat. And one of us is right and one of us is wrong. Which one is it? We should probably investigate that. Leftists think that if you feel a little feminine on the inside, you might be a woman. I think I touched my mic. I apologize to the sound guy. They think that, look, so many people have died of COVID, right? If you're older, you're at risk. If you are obese, you are at risk. So it makes common sense that we would encourage people to lose a little bit of weight, get fit, get on the Peloton. Or if you don't have enough money for the Peloton, go for a jog, whatever it is, eat a little bit better. But instead, the left puts morbidly obese women on fitness magazines and says, this is the new face of fitness. Being fat is healthy. Being fat is not healthy. They live in like a fantasy world and they try to sell this stuff. And the sad thing is there's a certain percentage of the population that will believe it because it was on CNN.
Yeah.
And conservatives are sitting there saying, I think conservatives are defined, in fact, and libertarians as well to some degree, by being pragmatic. We're pragmatists. It's the kind of people that have a farm and they need to put up the fence or something like that. We do what needs to get done.
Yeah.
We perceive the world in the way it actually is because you need to deal with the world the way it actually is. I think that's very important. Leftists don't do that. They just listen to Don Lemon.
And that is really unfortunate.
Not a good idea.
And they fall in love with the theories. Like
They fall in love with theories. It's an intellectual thing.
It makes them feel warm and fuzzy.
It makes them feel smart.
Yes.
I'm smarter than you because you don't realize the reason that you don't understand about the trans people is that you're not smart enough to understand it.
Right. Gender is a social construct.
Or if you're a dude, you're a dude. Maybe that's just it.
Yeah. Jason, last word on this.
These press conferences, going back to Biden, it really, really irritate me. I mean, the very first, I watched, the first 10 minutes of it, and I just turned it off. Because the entire time he was just trying to make the case that basically everything that we know is not true, they try to make the case from true. Again, he spouted off that ridiculous jobs number, like the most jobs created in the history of the world, or whatever. And we're like, how many jobs were lost because people were forced to stay in and they were laid off?
You don't get to count those
You
jobs
don't get to
coming
count
back.
that. I know. But I mean, it really is agonizing because they keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. And if you're on the left and you're completely bought in, because now we're so tribal, right? You're either, it's us versus you. And that's just, and both sides kind of feel that way. No matter what, you have to believe your guy or girl or whatever. You have to believe them. It doesn't matter. And people won't. I mean, that's why the right, I mean, typically we say, hey, do your own homework. Don't take everything at face value. You've got to look into these things on your own or just get your news from people like the News and Why. And then you'll be informed.
Then you'll be set. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Keeps. So, Jason, it's a great day for you to be on.
Hey, every time. Yeah, I tell you what.
Because, Chris is laughing, but...
Just only a year ago.
Yeah, because
Well, congratulations.
He legitimately started using Keeps. And, like, his...
I would date him.
But, I mean, people were like, writing in, what happened to, Jason has hair again. What happened? He started taking Keeps. That's what happened. So Keeps... For those of you, I know, you men don't go to the doctor for anything. You could be dying on your deathbed and you're not going to go to the doctor. So that's why Keeps is very handy for you, because they offer these same doctor-recommended, clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop this hair loss and improve hair growth, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
Can I tell you this?
Please.
It was so awesome. There was a lady at an event we did, a company event, and she goes, Jason, can I please touch your hair? I don't know what happened, but can I please touch it? I was like, touch away, baby. She was like 80. I was like, just like going like this, and she's touching my hair, and I was like, thanks, Keeps.
It's like, It's like Donald. They always accuse Donald Trump. He's like, it's my hair. It's not a toupee. It's my hair. It's not a toupee. It's real. She touched it and found out that it is real. So you can contact Keeps for your hair loss treatment. The plan comes with a full year of unlimited messaging, by the way, with your doctor, your Keeps doctor, so you can connect with them about anything, anytime. And they make it very, very simple. You're not going to have to visit the doctor's office. You're not going to have to visit the pharmacy. They deliver everything you need directly to your door. So whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair that you have now, Keeps has got you covered. You can get 50% off your first order if you go to keeps.com/Y. That's WHY. That is Keeps, KEEPS.com/Y. YouTube has strict community guidelines over what we can and cannot say about COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. If YouTube deems we've somehow violated these guidelines, we risk YouTube cutting off our ability to communicate to you. With that said, the discussions which follow are not meant to provide medical advice. Please seek the advice of local health officials for any COVID-19 and/or COVID vaccine-related questions and concerns.
A lot of people do.
All right, so a Heartland Institute and Rasmussen Reports national telephone and online survey taken this month revealed this is a really wild poll survey that they revealed here. So let me just read this tweet, because it kind of sums it up quite nicely. It says, with these Democrats who were surveyed, 55% of them supported fines against unvaccinated people. 59% supported house arrest. 48% supported prison for questioning vaccination efficacy on social media. 45% support internment camps.
This is real.
Internment freaking camps, guys. 47% support surveillance. And 29% support the state taking their children. Yeah, thank you. That sums it up quite nicely. This is real, guys. This is real. I don't know why they don't just go move to China. They seem to align much better with the Chinese Communist Party's idea of what life should be like under tyrannical rule. I mean, this is completely insane. Now, I do want to try to square this with a graph. Control, if you could bring up that graph that you had ready that I didn't use. Yeah, this is wild, because at the same time that we're reading this, there's this graph that just came out, quarterly average percentage survey of 12,416 U.S. adults between January and December of 2021 who identified with or leaned to Republican or Democrat Party. You can see the Democrat Party between quarter 2 and quarter 4 just sliding downwards. What?
What's that from? Where'd you get that?
Quarter of the average.
Control Gallup.
Oh, gosh.
And then, Gallup. And then you see the red line, the Republicans, rising upward. So I guess that leads me to believe maybe that all of these independents who thought that they aligned with the Democrats are now jumping ship because they're like, you guys are way too insane. Yeah. And the only ones who are left are just completely insane. Yeah. Because I don't see how else you get here. I don't see how else you get to 59% of an entire political party support house arrest for people who are unvaccinated, prison for questioning it, internment camps, 45% internment camps. Like, this just, it's times like these that I'm like, national divorce, okay. I'm ready to talk about it, you guys. Chris?
Well, yeah, they want to take away the children. The thing that was crazy to me is that they think that the state should be able to take your child away if you're unvaxxed.
You see that San Francisco Chronicle article a couple days ago?
No. I don't know, maybe.
It was a writer.
Could you elaborate?
Yes, that one?
Yeah. It was a San Francisco Chronicle. It was an opinion piece, but he was making the case for why in California, if we really want equity, the state should be able to take away your kids.
Yeah, should own your children and you should trade them with other. Yeah.
That's not Babylon Bee. That's insane.
Yeah, they do believe the state owns your kids.
That's the Soviet method, isn't it? That's what the 1930s Germans did, isn't it? I mean, they had the Hitler Youth, right? Yeah. They would take your kids away and they would brainwash them, and that's the idea. Yeah, the idea they want to take people's kids because they're unvaccinated. To me, this is just more proof of this leftist insanity, this vision of the world that they have. Everybody's listening to CNN, everybody's listening to MSNBC and Rachel Maddow, and they hear that, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. This is the plague. This is going to kill everybody in America. Omicron could potentially be the thing that gets us out of it. Now, I'm at this point, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, enough with the masks. Okay, I think we're probably going to cover what Boris Johnson talked about.
Yes,
but
I
want to just mention that quickly. Like in the UK, they're getting rid of everything.
Right.
They're saying no more mandates, no more anything right now. And there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's political humiliation. We'll get into it. But in America, we don't do that. We are absolutely fixed on this. We're going even further. We're going more strict. We're going crazier. And it's like, well,
especially where you live.
Right. And
LA.
We're regressing. And the Omicron variant is mild. Everybody knows it's mild at this point. So this could actually potentially be better than a vaccine. Because if you have a very, very mild virus and it inoculates you against more severe strains, then you're good. It's essentially like a vaccine, but nobody gets rich off of a mild strain.
Right, right. Well, and they're arguing, because they know that, they're arguing cases and not hospitalizations, deaths, any sort of negative long-term complications, anything like that. It's just record number of cases today. Well, everyone gets a cold a couple times a year, if that's what we're talking about here.
Remember when the hippies were the Democrats?
Yes.
And they were like, screw the government, and like that's not the Democrat Party anymore.
Do you remember when I coined myself the conservative hippie because nobody else was?
Yeah. Right.
And now it's like, I don't think I have to say that anymore because that's just kind of like our vibe now.
Hold on. I still hate hippies. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, this is awkward.
This is awkward.
You make a good point, though, about the independents, though, and it's what really pisses me off. And I partly blame the Republican Party, too.
Yeah.
The handlers around Donald Trump as well. That first debate was just absolutely disastrous.
Yeah.
And if their only guidance to him was just be yourself, we need a little more guidance, next time, especially if he's going to try and run again. But this country, as it should, kind of ebbs and flows with the people in the middle, right? We have the people that are far left, and they're going to want a bunch of crazy stuff. We have people that are very, very libertarian, I guess, on the right, which is me, and then it kind of goes a little bit further and further to what the modern day Republican Party is. But the vast majority, well, not the vast, a large amount of the country can swing the election, and they're independent. They'll just go either way depending on what sounds good to them for them that year, whatever is most important. Yeah. But right now, this has got to be disastrous. And it doesn't matter if Joe Biden's going to go on and say, don't worry about it, the shelves are fine, supply chain's fine, all this stuff is fine. They don't believe that crap. No. They're looking at what their eyes are telling them right now, and that's like, we got major problems. All these things that you said you were going to fix, you haven't fixed. Your solutions to fix them, like, I don't know, spending a couple $1 trillion to make the inflation even worse. that's not going to help either.
Yeah. Well, I kind of also secretly love that. Well, not secretly. I kind of love that they trained their base to just panic anytime there's a coronavirus case, right? Like they trained them to just be hysterical about it, and now it's just slapping them in the face because now it's not severe. I mean, you could argue it never was severe, but you've got like the least severe of all the variants, and everyone's like, oh my God, we're gonna die. Let's lock down again. And
I know.
Because they've been trained to be hysterical over it.
And to your point, we've talked about this before, but for any other virus, when they said the word variant, we used to go, oh, great, it's getting less and less and less severe.
Right.
That's the way it works.
Right.
Not now.
No, just conservatives thought that. The left didn't think that. They were told something completely different.
Yeah.
And to your point, this poll from Rasmussen, and thank you, Rasmussen, by the way, if you're watching, because Rasmussen is one of the few polling agencies that actually ask questions like this. And the left thinks that Rasmussen is conservative because it asks questions like this. I don't think that it is. But it just goes, this specifically shows to us exactly what the indoctrination has done, right? This shows how successful CNN has been in really brainwashing the public, and MSNBC and Biden and Pelosi and everybody that is trying to scare the crap out of everybody. They are scared. They're scared enough to take away your children. They're scared enough to send you to an internment camp. And that's really what it is. I think they call it like a special facility or something like that. Isolated facility.
Yes, a designated isolation facility.
Right, that's something like that.
I'm sure that's what they called it when they were sending all the Uyghurs there as well.
Right, and the one that was upsetting to me, because this affects us specifically, is they were saying that if you question the efficacy of vaccines on the air, on television, or on the internet, if I did it on my show, then I would be sent to prison.
Chris, they're suspending doctors' licenses.
That's right.
For questioning that. Doctors, actual doctors who have gone through the same medical training as one could say that they have more experience because they're actually dealing with patients and not some bureaucrat who hasn't seen a patient in 40 years.
What was her name? Dr. Bowden or something?
And
she prescribed ivermectin?
Yes, she had the audacity to prescribe not only ivermectin, Chris, also hydroxychloroquine.
Oh, good gosh.
And in her personal blog, she questioned whether or not this whole vaccine program was like the end goal, the end result was supposed to have vaccine passports.
Yeah,
it's amazing the people that are allowed to actually question it or to say anything bad about the vaccines or any of the approved treatments, right?
Well, black people can say whatever they want.
Let's be honest. I was thinking more about like the Pfizer CEO, who basically came out and said the same thing, said the exact same thing. Now, if you on your YouTube channel said exactly what the Pfizer CEO said, you'd get a strike, either kicked off YouTube.
Oh, for sure. And according to these people, I'd go to prison.
Yes.
For real.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and we could go on this forever, but let's take a break and then we can go ahead and show. Let's talk about Boris Johnson just a little bit, just to wrap up this topic, and we can move on from there. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar. So. Chris, have you tried Built Bar yet?
I have. They're delicious.
Okay, good. Yay, I'm glad.
I don't anymore because I don't do carbs, but when I was doing carbs.
But they're so low carb, so you must just cut all carbs.
I'm doing almost zero carb right now.
See, I can't do that in my life.
Yeah. Well, I'm a man.
Well, he's stronger than me. He's right. He's got a point. But Built Bar is like my go-to. I know I've heard from so many of you out there who have been loading up on Built Bar and loving it. I'm so happy that I could turn you on to something so delicious. But also, it's not going to expand your waistline. So they've got like 180 calories or less. They've got up to 18 grams of protein, but it's going to be low sugar, low carb, high fiber. So you feel like you're cheating on your diet, but you're not. And I know a lot of you out there, look, January is almost over. I know a lot of you out there, your New Year's resolution was to do something about your weight. Let Built Bar help keep you on track, okay? You gotta go to built.com. If you use promo code NEWS15, you can save 15% off of your order. They've got a ton of different flavors. You gotta go over to the website, check it out, get yourself a mixed box. They'll give you a little bit of everything you can sample and find out what is your favorite. Only at built.com. Use promo code NEWS15 over at BUILT.com. As Mr. Reagan himself just mentioned earlier before the break, England is going to end its mandatory face masking and COVID-19 passport requirements tomorrow on Thursday. This is according to Boris Johnson. He gave a statement today. Let's go ahead and listen to some of that.
Once regulations lapse, the government will no longer mandate the wearing of face masks anywhere. Mr. Speaker.
British pub is so hilarious.
I know.
It's like primitive.
Yes. I so wish we were allowed to be
Mr.
like
Speaker,
that.
from tomorrow, we will no longer require face masks in classrooms, and the Department.
The way they comb their hair is
Department for
primitive.
Education will shortly remove national guidance
Please do.
on their use in communal areas. In the country at large, we will continue to suggest the use of face coverings in enclosed or crowded spaces, particularly when you come into contact with people you don't normally meet, but we will trust the judgment of the British people and no longer criminalise anyone who chooses not to wear one.
It's kind of funny because they seem to, their momentum kind of dies down. They're like, by the end of it, they're like, yay, yay,
exactly.
we're ready for you to stop talking. I just want to know if Boris Johnson owns a brush.
I don't think so.
I'm going to guess no.
It's a kind of a trendy thing for very, very wealthy, posh men in Britain to not comb their hair.
just not comb their
hair.
hair.
It's sort of like
That's weird.
oh, I'm so amazing. I don't even have to comb my hair.
It's like they dry it off like this and just leave it.
It's intentional. It's like an intentional thing.
That must be what my 9-year-old son tries to do every time he takes a shower. And I'm like, brush your hair.
No, he's just incredibly posh and British.
Yeah.
That must be what it is. So as you alluded to, Chris, so this change in their coronavirus policy coincidentally comes at a time where a lot of lawmakers are calling for Boris Johnson's resignation following reports of parties, other prohibited gatherings at his residence during their COVID-19 lockdown. Look, we've had this happen to. You're no stranger to this happening in your home state with Gavin Newsom.
He pulled a Gavin Newsom.
He did.
Yeah.
Gretchen Whitmer was the same way. I mean, there's
AOC in Miami. Partying in Miami.
Yep. I mean, the list goes on of all of these Democrat lawmakers who are doing the same thing here. But there, anyway, you kind of believe that was a driving factor in this change in policy.
Oh no, this should be written into every textbook of. What do you study in school? Political history?
Yeah. Sure.
Political.
Poli-sci?
Yeah, poli-sci. That's what I was thinking of. I don't know why. Sometimes my brain doesn't work. I pulled a Biden, guys. This should be written in like every political science book. This is how you do it. Okay, this is how you respond to obvious hypocrisy, right? When you have been caught out not following your own laws, you go, you know what? That was a stupid law anyway. I was just joking about those mandates. We all know they're bullshit stuff. Let's get rid of them. Right? I've got, the masks. I don't want to say whether masks work or not, but. Do the research into it. Yeah, masks don't work. I'm sorry. It's so stupid.
It was nice of you to try to save my
I'm trying to save
program
your show,
by saying that.
Was that
I don't
Stewie
give
from
a
Family
crap.
Guy, by the way?
Huh?
Was that Stewie from Family Guy, by the way?
That did
Oh no,
sound
that
like-
was just me being posh and
Posh
British.
British.
Right. Yeah. I could turn it into Stewie probably, but no. This idea that masks are going to save you if you're in an Uber with the Uber driver.
Well, I mean, look, the CDC, here's how you save this program. The CDC, we just talked about this yesterday. The CDC themselves are talking about finally.
They need the N95s, right?
Yes, because we were the conspiracy theorists a year ago, 2 years ago, when we said those cloth, stupid, like face diapers that you're putting on your face are actually disgusting and don't work. Now they're admitting the same thing. So
I've always said, look, N95s are probably better because they're fine enough that they can stop
if
viral
you're actually
transmission.
serious about it,
If you were serious about it, you would be mandating those as opposed to this neck gaiters. That's not going to stop anything.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
But they never mandated those, so I never really took any of that stuff seriously. It was always virtue signaling in my mind. The politicians know this. A lot of the people in the public know this. These lockdowns have incredibly negative consequences to business, to school children, all this kind of stuff, right? Forcing kids to wrap their face in these face diapers. I mean, it's just cruel.
Yeah.
And everybody sees this. Everybody sees the problems with it. People have had enough. And then when you see this hypocrisy, like what AOC does, or Gavin Newsom, or Nancy Pelosi go into the salon, or whatever it is, Gretchen Whitmer, it just infuriates people and it makes them hate you.
Yeah.
And so if you're not going to follow the rules, do something like this. Yeah, you're still a bit of a jerk, but at least you distract people with the shiny object.
Exactly.
You know, it's so smart what he did.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the Democrats are so dumb in America. It's like, I mean, he's a conservative over there in the UK.
Right.
So I guess he's a little bit smarter than the other guys.
Okay, that's a good way to like bring that full circle.
Who he's fighting off right now is someone they're calling the modern day Margaret Thatcher. I cannot remember her name to save me. But
because she's a woman, isn't it?
She is a woman.
She doesn't have a name to
Definitely
you.
is a woman.
That's really nice, Jason.
But no, she's closer towards like a Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is no real I can't think of a real conservative.
Yeah, like
over
the
in
conservatives
UK.
over there are
Not
really
since
saying
Margaret
that.
Thatcher.
Nigel Farage is pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, he's on his way out.
Yeah.
And this is clearly just a last-ditch effort.
Boris
to try
Johnson,
to save
you're talking about Boris Johnson now, because I did mention somebody else. Boris Johnson is on his way out.
Yeah, he's clearly on his way out. But this is still the guy whose campaign, one of his phrases was "Build Back Better." He's still the guy that praises the NHS, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I tell you what, I mean, and this is a good thing. If it is, I don't care if you have a quote-unquote conservative governor in your state. Oh, I don't know, like Governor Abbott. If they in the beginning chose to do the same thing as every other left-leaning government, which is screw the Constitution, you, small business owner, need to shut down. Walmart can stay open, but you have to shut down. If that was your governor's response in the beginning, get rid of them. Just get rid of them. Don't give them any leniency, no matter what they do.
Just want to. Would just like to point this Prather2022.com. Just to go along with what you were saying.
I like it. I endorse.
Just wanted to.
I like Chad.
Was that subtle? That was subtle.
That was subtle.
Right? No, I totally agree with you. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a break and thank our sponsor, and then I'm going to have you guys pick your poison for the next segment. But first, I want to thank new sponsor of the program, Z-Stack. So look, if the last 2 years have taught us anything, it's taught us that you cannot allow the government to dictate what you should be doing for your health. You have to take control of it yourself, all right? Like, I cannot even tell you the amount of times that the government has been wrong about how to handle coronavirus, and I cannot even tell you, don't even get me started on the food pyramid and how wrong they are about that. They are not the entity to trust right now. That is where Z-Stack comes in. Z-Stack is a specially formulated immune-boosting supplement. It includes zinc, it includes quercetin, it includes vitamin C, vitamin D. It is formulated by Dr. Vladimir Zelenko. This is, of course, the world-renowned doctor that President Trump actually credited with his successful early treatment protocol and his decision to treat hydroxychloroquine. Go ahead.
And GB personally reached out.
Okay, thank you.
Amazing. He started taking his stuff. He was still testing positive.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell. He had no symptom.
Didn't you love how just to deviate for a second, the left was attacking him like, oh my gosh, he has coronavirus. He's going to die. We're like, he's been doing his radio program
and TV show.
Right, like all of his daily things that he has to do, he's been doing fine, guys. He's fine. Testing positive is not the end of the world, but he can actually give a lot of credit to Z-Stack for that. It's been scientifically formulated, it's kosher, it's GMP certified, it's produced right here in the United States, all right? You gotta take control of your health, take control of your family's health. Don't wait until you need it and you don't have it. Make sure you get it now. Keep it in your pantry so that you have it when you really need it. Go to zstacklife.com/Y. You can enter the promo code Y, that's WHY. You will get 5% off of your first order. That is zstacklife.com/Y, promo code Y. All right, okay, so I said pick your poison. Okay, we've got CNN announcing a new team dedicated to covering misinformation, or Microsoft Word introducing a new political correctness feature.
Oh, I want to do misinformation.
How do you not do that with CNN?
I just wanted to give you guys the option here, okay? Because we got like 4 minutes left. So let's go to this tweet. This is the managing editor for CNN Business, Alex Koppelman. Hello, Twitter. Some very exciting media jobs to tell you about. I'm hiring 3 people for a new CNN team dedicated to covering misinformation. Thread about the team and job starts here. Please feel free to share far and wide, and if you're interested, reach out or apply at the links. What do we mean by covering misinformation? Really, it's about covering reality, the uses, abuses, and distortions of it, the people twisting it, and the effect that it has on all of us. We already do a lot of important work on this. We want to do more. Do these people own mirrors in their homes?
Look, they say that if you tell a lie often enough, you start to believe it, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest lies that CNN tells is that right-wing media is lying to you, right?
Yep.
Look, it's like what I was talking about before. We have this bifurcated view of the world. Leftists believe that the universe is this way. Conservatives believe that it's this way. If you're the person lying to people to convince them that the reality is not what you think it is, look over here, and then there's another group, there's another entity of people who are saying, no, it is what you think it is. It's this, right? And they're telling you the truth. You have to discredit those people. You have to point to those people and say, no, they're lying to you. And also your eyes are lying to you and your ears. Nothing you see is real, right? But some of the people at CNN, I think, have started to believe their own BS, right? They believe it. And this guy is confident enough that he's the arbiter of truth, and the news and why it matters is just lying to you every day.
Oh yeah, we're conspiracy theorists over here.
The weird thing is, whenever they try to say this about me or anybody that I know, I work very hard to try to express what I believe is true. Now, am I always right? No, I don't think I am always right. Okay, I will make mistakes, but I can tell you 100%, I am genuinely me, right? I don't work for anybody. I just do my show. So I just tell people what I think. I have no incentive to lie to people, right? We know that CNN has an incentive to lie to people. I mean, who do they hire? They hire just former FBI and CIA agents all the time. You know what I mean? So these guys have been lying enough that they've started to believe their own lies, and they're confident in saying, we got to go fight misinformation, despite... I mean, are you going to read some of the responses from people? Do you have that?
Yeah, I do have some. I do have some of them.
Some of the I responded to it and I said, I will work for you. I'll do it. I'll go work for CNN and I'll do this. But you've got to understand, I'm going to cover you.
Yeah, that's what. So Candace Owens.
So will you hire me? No, you won't.
No. Candace Owens, of course, said CNN to create a team dedicated to covering CNN. Monica Crowley, the call is coming from inside the house. Jason, your thoughts?
Yeah, that would be actually a good job because they'd have no problem staffing. You would have to get at least a team of 5 to who knows how many people just to stick with their own pundits on that show. It'd be absolutely insane. Yeah, it's funny. The thing that, who's the guy that heads CNN? Is it Zucker? Yeah,
Jeff Zucker.
Jeff Zucker.
He really has not figured it out. They've lost, what was the last figure? I think 90% of their viewership has completely gone. But they haven't. But
that's
the
best thing I've heard all week.
Well, there's no Trump anymore to cover. Nobody's. There's nothing to cover.
There's no hate coverage.
Yeah, there's no hate coverage.
But they haven't learned. They have not. They still think that is the direction to go. It's like every leftist policy. It fails. It fails. It fails. What do we do now? Let's do more of it, right? Maybe eventually it'll come true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. I mean, they're telling the people we're the arbiters of what's real. The real information. We just don't want you to, think about all the Russia stuff. Russian bounties, all that. What? A better question is what hasn't been
high school thing?
Yeah.
Jussie Smollett.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. You could go on and on. We could just sit here for the whole show and list things that CNN has gotten wrong.
The harder part would be finding something that wasn't misinformation over this past couple of years.
Right. Yeah. So good luck with that new job, CNN. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
I love this show, by the way.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're back. All right, don't forget to go. I know it's all of your New Year's resolution. You got to go to wherever you get your audio podcasts, okay? Subscribe, rate, and review the news and why it matters. I realize a lot of you, most of you, are watching this program because you want to see our lovely faces. But when you go over there and you subscribe over to the audio side, it helps more people be able to find the show because, as we know, we've referenced this several times throughout the show, the algorithm is against us conservatives, all right? They want you to hear CNN. They don't want you to hear the real truth. So make sure you do that. It'll take you 2 minutes. And as an added bonus, you may see your review when you leave us one. You may see it read live on air, like the one today from Loris921, who said 5 stars, as addictive as Built Bars. I love that Loris loves the Built Bars. If you want to hear real news, this is the show to watch. Sarah and her guests cover serious issues with informed, intelligent discussion and enough humor to make it a daily must-see. I've watched since day one, and the regulars feel like old friends. We appreciate that so much. That's what we try to do, because as we say often, the news these days really just makes you want to jump off of a bridge. So don't do that, okay? Instead, come watch us, and we will make it palatable. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Follow Chris Cole's Mr. Reagan himself. We are so happy that you're back. You got to come visit. You should just move here, honestly. LA is pretty tough, right?
I've considered it.
Yeah, please. And don't forget, catch Glenn's special tonight on The Great Reset.